All right. Peace, everybody. Welcome to Show and Prove. I'm Achi El Karar. Some call me Aki Low. Um, and we're back. You know what I'm talking about. We back again, like always. Back on another adventure, another ride. We just keep on going, going on for the ride. You know what I'm talking about? So here we go again. This time we are talking about, basically the Code of Hammurabi, and that's where we're going to be going for a couple of strongs, until we go on something else. We're gonna go on something else. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, we're gonna deal with code and law, love for laws, wisdom, you know what I'm talking about, and that's where we're headed. So that's what we're gonna do. You know what I'm talking about. But peace, sovereignities, Um you, there she go. You know what I'm talking about. And peace, Sister Kiri, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. Um, I would say that, when you go down sort of this path, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting where you end up, you know, you know what I'm saying? But I will also tell you, if you look at the links in the description, check out Chief's um archive podcast on the wasteland when he talks about, the Code of Ur-Nammu, you know, which predates, you know, um, the Code of Hammurabi predates it. At one point in time, the Code of Hammurabi was the open, the oldest recorded law book or law statute in the world, pretty much. And then you come with that. So that's very interesting. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, peace in Manai. Well, I know, Sister Q Eaton is already ready. She been on it. You know what I'm talking about. She been on it already. So, peace, Leon. You know what I'm talking about. Peace, brother Rami. So we just gonna get into it. You know what I'm talking about. So let's go. Yeah, all right, here we go. It's Code Hammurabi. This is part one, and y'all already know who I is. I don't gotta tell you. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah. So we're talking about Hammurabi. We're talking about, well, this guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we at with it. It's hard to find, a melanin picture of Hammurabi, But yeah. Peace, about to say peace, Emma Yahab. Oh, well, South of Yahaba. I'm talking about, yeah. All right. So let's get into Hammurabi. Now we don't know. Basically, they don't know when he was born. It's up in the air. But we do know that he died, in 1750 BCE or before the Common Era. Just in case if you don't know, or you can just say before Christ. But yeah, and so, he's the sixth ruler of the Amorite dynasty. That where Amorites going to be important. And he reigned from 1792 to 1750 BCE. And he ruled over the old Babylonian Empire. And that's sort of important just because of the simple fact that there's or you could say the first Babylonian Empire, because there were two. There's the first and then the second. Some call this one the old Babylonian Empire, and then they call the new Babylonian Empire. The one that's probably the more popular one. You know what I'm talking about? So you don't, or the Neo Babylonian Empire. They call it that too. So we're talking about the first one. You know, um, he sought to improve, the lives of his people, and who lived under his rule. Um, and he in insanity he conquered which says some, he repaired it, and improved upon it, which, he just didn't ransack it and didn't just leave. He repaired and improved it. Um, the title given to him was Bani Matim, which is builder of the land, because of his various building projects, especially when it comes to things like irrigations and things like that. And his code's principal nature is retributive justice, in which punishment corresponds directly to the crime, which we're going to get into. But peace out the G, about. It's always fun when you're around, So, as I said, this is about the old Babylonian Empire. So this is the Babylonian Empire basically when he ruled, after he died, circa 1750. Yeah. So this is after he died, right? So show you a couple of maps. And this is his empire as well, right? Just showing you a couple of maps. And so now, the Amorites. Now it tells you that he was part of the Amorite dynasty, which you have to understand is that the Amorite were a tribe. They were a people. You know what I'm saying? And what's interesting about the Amorites, is that they inhabited a land, or as they say, satrap, or a province, because satrap is a province that's governed by, well, satrap is the title of the governor that governs the satrapy. Is satrapy. Sometimes I say satrap and interchangeable, but they lived in a province called Iber Iber-Nammu. And as you can see from this map, what you're looking at is basically the province in which they were in. You know what I'm saying? Which all of this is pretty much Iber-Nammu. That's the province. So as you can see, where they've been. They've been in Phoenicia. They're in Philistine or Canaan. And also, even though you can't see it, another part of Iber-Nammu was Cyprus, which is what was the island, in a little bit, you see a little corner of it, but yeah. So that says something when we talk about, places with that Iber or Iber, Iberia. You already can see the footprints on where these people came from. Remember, or Hebrews came from. And remember, if you look into that other eastern corner, you will also realize that the Amorites inhabited the city of Ur. So that's also another interesting place, because that's where Abraham was from, So that says something, Nah. Okay, now we're gonna talk about retributive justice. Okay, so that basically it goes into that those commit certain kinds of wrongful acts, and serious crime, morally deserve to suffer purportedly punishment, and that intrinsically morally good, good without reference to any other goods, that might arise. If some legitimate punishment gives them the punishment that they deserve. I would also say, clue number one. Exactly. Clue number one. Yeah, but I'm already telling you, where they been, where they at. Is, but we get there, So there's that. and it's also that it is morally impermissible or intentionally to punish the innocent or to inflict disproportionately large punishments on wrongdoers. It also refers to the extent to which punishments are fair and just, and it also inhabits, or references the law of retaliation, which is basically, an eye for an eye. If you do something, then you will get the equal consequence of it. Equal action, equal consequence. Um, or equal action, equal response. I would say it like that. But peace, Jeremiah. Okay, so in Exodus 21:23 through 25, but if there is serious injury, you are to take life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise. So actually sounds familiar. You know what I'm talking about. So like I say, you're you're going to see that more than once. As we continue, you're going to see the similarities, and it's not by coincidence at all, you know. Um, so keep an eye out, but that is, as you can see, even in Torah or the Bible, there is retributive justice or the law of retribution. It just doesn't say it, but that's where it comes from, you know. Um, but uh, retribution wasn't really equal or equitably allocated to all. Same got rougher consequences. Yeah, I would say so. When you do digging, and then sometimes it sort of sometimes depends on cultures, because is it can be distributed differently among different cultures, different parts of regions. I'm talking about. I would say that as well. You know, but yeah, totally. Because even among Hammurabi's time, there were they also had their class systems. So, in layman terms, I just put that in there because the movie was always in my head. Saying Ten Commandments. You know, um, yes, the slavers did get it worse. So those who will not live by the law shall die by the law. It's if you've heard it, you've heard it. You know what I'm talking about. And it just sticks out. So for those that don't know what the code where it's written on, for instance, this is basically the stela or the stone on which, or stone pillar on which, the Code of Hammurabi is on. As you can see from this, the person on your left is Hammurabi, and here he is receiving the law from Utu or Shamash. So in this book, now the Pitta was founded in 1901, and it was funded by the French government. Also, what you have to understand is various governments funded archaeological digs. It's just sometimes you see the French, especially in the time of Napoleon, they funded a lot of archaeological digs, So you got the Rosetta Stone and Champollion and all of that, various things. You want to see another Scrabble for Africa? Look at Egyptian archaeological digs. You're gonna see a scramble there too. Among various colonial empires. There's a scrabble right there. Well, Emma Yakira asked the question for everyone. So just in case nobody. But yeah. So it's housed at the Louvre, in Paris, where you will find more than one great artifact, from various times and from various cultures, mostly your own. But yeah, it's made of black diorite, and like I said, it was received by the sun deity Utu or Samash, and it has 282 statues in total. Also, with that stone pillar, they didn't have all of it, the entire code, but as they kept digging, they found basically the rest of it. I know which one she's talking about, but it hums. It should hum. It hums, transforms and everything like that. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, but don't transform. But it helps people. We talked about, y'all talked about more than one movie from that same person too. Just saying. So yeah, I don't know if they gonna answer you though. I can't give it away. But yeah, it was that was a 4-parter. It should, 4-parter. It was a 4-parter you did on it. It was about 2 hours. I'm already giving hints. Help me out. But yeah, man. So, but she already giving you hints. I'll post a hint just so y'all, get it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, somebody got it. For sure. Thank you, South Harbor. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah. So, gonna play the first clip. So, give me a second.
Law is defined as anything that is done. If you do something, that's a law. If you're driving a car, you put your hands on the wheel. That's a law of driving a car. Why? Because you're doing it, and you're driving. You're actually driving. So anything that you do is a law. And a person might say, well, that's against the law. Well, that's just doing something that somebody else disapproves of, but you're actually enacting a law when you're doing what you're doing. Now, there's a difference between law and justice. Laws are any activities that are going on. That's law. I mean, the breeze coming by, that's law. Clouds, that's law. Why? Because clouds exist. Clouds do something. Anything that's doing something, that is an explicit law within itself. Now, justice is balance between people. which means that's law too. But that means you have a law that will produce justice or a law that will not produce justice. Laws are any activities, but justice is supposed to be the result of law.
He breaks down law.
When you're talking about interaction between people, law is activity, and you have activity that will result in a thing called justice. Of course, you have to have a definition for justice. And since law is an activity, justice is what? If it's done correctly, if you're talking about activities between people, you're supposed to have a guarantee that no person is mistreated, and a guarantee that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Now, so far, none of the laws that people have enacted, meaning none of the things that people have done on this planet in recorded history, has resulted in a thing called justice being established, meaning guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person that needed help the most got the most constructive help. That has never happened in recorded history. But that's something that everyone should be working on bringing about. That's a duty. According to what? According to the logic of establishing laws that have to do with the activities of people. Law being activity.
All right. And we back. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, like I said, he can explain law and justice better than I could, you know, but we gonna keep on going with it, you know. So, you know, from the 14 keys we have, you know, justice is an administration of law. Law is the contour of a commanding order. In order for that law to be applicable to an individual or group, the paths to the supreme have to be wholeheartedly agreed on. There must be an agreement on a calculation of law that holds jurisdiction over those who have contracted with it. Justice is a concept that invites great debate based on the inference to a changeable chain of command and rule of law. You know, so that's from the 14 keys on justice, basically, or justice. You know what I'm talking about, or even-handedness. You know what I'm talking about. So we're gonna get into the next one. So let's go.
We want to welcome Mr. Clark to Eastside. We've heard so much about you.
I just look. We all know this film. Love it. Here we go. We about to get it in.
Have noted a need for
Mine.
Mr. Zarella, for example.
You may sit down, Mr. O'Malley. You think you can run this school? If you could, then I wouldn't be here, would I? No one talks in my meetings. No one! You take out your pencils and write. I want the names of every hoodlum, drug dealer, and miscreant who's done nothing but take this place apart on my desk by noon today. Reverend Slappy. Yes, sir. You are now the chief custodian, Reverend Slappy.
Oh, I mean, here that's the video itself. I can't change the volume, even if the volume's all the way up. It's actually the video itself, the volume of the video itself. That's why I can't do
those cages in the cafeteria. You treat them like animals. That's exactly how they'll behave. This is my new dean of security, Mr. William Wright. He will be my avenging angel as you teachers reclaim the halls. This is an institution of learning, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't control
Yes,
it, how can you teach?
That's what it is.
Discipline is not the enemy of enthusiasm. Mr. Zarella.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Zarella, you are now my new head football coach. Mr. Darnell. Stand up, Mr. Darnell. Mr. Darnell will be your assistant. You know why you're being demoted, Mr. Darnell? Because I'm sick and tired of our football team getting pushed all over the field. Thank you. Sit down. I want precision. I want a weight program. And if you don't like it, Mr. Darnell, you can quit. Same goes for the rest of you. You've tried it your way for years, and your students can't even get past a minimum basic skills test. That means they can hardly read. They've given me less than 1 year, 1 school year to turn this place around, to get those test scores up, so the state will not take us over to perform the task which you have failed to do, to educate our children. Forget about the way it used to be. This is not a damn democracy. We are in a state of emergency, and my word is law. There's only one boss in this place, and that's me. The HNIC. Are there any questions? Mr. Wright?
So yeah, Mike, like I said, classic, but it shows chain of command and execution of law in a sense, the H, what boss? Like that's me. The HNIC. I mean, look, there's so many dang classic lines when it comes to this, man. I can't cover them all. You know what I'm talking about. It's just so many, man. It's just so many, and I mean, we will be here all day. You know what I'm talking about. Talking about that, but don't think that's gonna be the only clip. But it's just all that's just for this inference, or this segment. But yeah, man, but it gives a sort of physical example, a sort of that execution of retributive law. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you see that, it goes off the next day, that's execution, giving commands and sticking to them, yeah. So, here we have a quote from, wonderful Ethiopians of the ancient Cushite Empire. There is marked similarity between the Jewish law and the Code of Hammurabi, which was the essence of the old laws that for thousands of years had ruled the Cushite race, and the Cushite race is in Kush, but it's more expansive and bigger than that, for those that don't know, south of Egypt and things like that. But as you can see, the Code of Hammurabi is same thing, similar to Hebraic. We ain't gonna say, but Hebraic law, law and statute, same code, which already tells you what, same team, same team, pimp, same team, boy, in more than one way. It's not just by coincidence, but we're going to cover that, through this all these couple of strongs, man. So I mean, like I say, they learned it from some place, It wasn't by, it wasn't by coincidence, even Hammurabi receiving the code from Utu, has always been similar to what Moses receiving the Ten Commandments from Yahweh or Yah. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go.
Here comes the
I'm just saying, you giving them bars, son.
Hit it, boy. Hit it. Yeah, he the total swing. Just about ready to do that thing. I don't want no tears, I don't want no lies. Above all, I don't want no alibis. This judge is hip, and that ain't all. He'll give you time if you're big or small. Fall in line, or this coat is neat. Peace, brother. Pick up the judge. Pick up the judge. Everyone show and hear the judge.
Man, I tell you, when I heard this bass, I was like, oh! See, it was already done.
Everybody,
No,
pause
was already done.
I'm going to Paris to stop this war. All those cats got this to me because I am the judge and you can plainly see. Lay down the law. They better not budge for I'll bust some heads because I am the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Everybody knows he is the judge. Had a chat with Ho Chi Minh. Sip rice wine and chase with gin. I may be wrong, lest I miss my guess. I'll have us all out of this doggone mess. I sent a cable to Bob and Mac. Told them boys I was coming back. Sat right down with Rocky Nick and teach them some of these things to drink. Now come November election time,
researching. I was like, oh, I've heard that.
guess what time? The money's all spent. Vote for me. I'm your president.
Hey, but he got some moves though. I'm just saying. As a dancer, yeah.
Now you know I am the judge.
So as you can see, that's what we on. We're on judgment, and that's what judges do. You know what I'm talking about? Execute, and know the law. Man, we could go. Well, maybe we'll say that. Yeah, I add that to another part. Just put something in my head that I could put in. But so we're gonna start with one of the first statutes of the code is, if a man brings an accusation against a man and charge him with a capital crime, but cannot prove it, he the accused shall be put to death. Basically off his, oh, you lying? Yeah, you gone. So that's one, that's the first one, Okay. Now, second one is if a man charged a man with sorcery and cannot prove it, he who is charged with sorcery shall go to the river, and into the river he shall throw himself. And if the river overcomes him, his accuser shall take to himself his house, or his estate. And house can also mean family, but that estate can also include the family. You know what I'm saying? But if the river showed that man to be innocent, and he comes forth unharmed, he who charged him with sorcery shall be put to death. He who threw himself into the river shall take to himself the house of his accuser. And that's the end of the code. So, you've been charged with sorcery, like, okay, well, in this day, okay, we're going to take you to the river, but you ain't getting baptized, you getting judged. And if the river says, judges you to be false, then it's going to swallow you, basically. And if it does not, then, somebody lying. And if that person's lying, he's gonna be put together. But you get, you get all his, you get his entire estate, for pain and suffering. For pain and suffering, water may have been cold that day, or you could have been in the Raging Rapids. Who knows, But you get that entire estate as reparations. You get the sense, like I said, pain and suffering. Okay, and number 3, if a man in a cause, in a case pending judgment, bears false or threatening witness, or do that whole well, 1 second. Witness or do not establish the testimony that he has given, if that case, if that case be a case involving life, that man shall be put to death. So if you bear false witness, well, it's already there. But that whole innocent until proven guilty starts here. Prove it or lose it, period. But I mean, Q said, yeah, but I will say this, because sometimes we don't look at the as law and statutes. We just look at them. Well, at least in modern times they're oppressive and things like that. Well, we don't look at them as a sense of this is solving a problem. There's an issue, or a cultural issue. And so we have to create a statute to solve a problem. And as you can see, that was a problem. Okay. You have people lying, lying on other people and whatnot. So we have to enact a statute or a law, to bring forth even-handedness, where there's no one bearing false lying, especially when it comes to capital offenses or crimes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, either you prove it or you or you like Yakira even said, you lose it, period. I could probably already see her. What her cute little man? What the what her little friend did? I could hear her in the background like, what she say? No, I forget. She know it though. Sovereignty says, right. I was about to ask about the state of the morality that would cause them to enforce this law. Yeah, man. I mean, the state of morality is well, one, you have to understand sort of the region. You know what I'm saying? Here's a region with more than one different ethnic culture, period. You have, even in that whole Tigris and Euphrates region, you have more than one ethnic culture. You got the Akkadians, you got the, you got the Elamites, you got, the Mari. You got so many, you know what I'm saying? all of them don't live by the same code and statutes. You know what I'm saying? And so you have different forms of morality, and everybody don't have a unified system of law. You know what I'm saying? So that brings forth immorality, you know, or according to whoever is that cultural's from a cultural standpoint. I just said it like that. From another person's cultural standpoint. You know, it's like, case in point, it's like Sovereign East when okay, she used to say that that's it. Okay, thank you. But it's like when I would teach origins of Islam, Sovereign East, and remember that part when I said when it came to certain tribes, you know, they had different basically different laws, but if you know it was like, okay, if you did a crime against, you know, someone within the tribe, that was a capital, that was a crime, that was an offense. But if you did that to somebody else outside your tribe, that may not have been an offense, you know, because it was outside. If you kill somebody outside the tribe, okay, good job, you know. You know, but you do, you know, you commit murder of somebody within your tribe, you know, kill them, you know. But yeah, you know, it's like that, you know. So yeah. So where does this all go to? Is go to the ninth commandment, as you can see, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Now, what's interesting is that, you know, what's interesting about, you know, basically, at least when it comes to it's lessened. In a sense, you know, you get it, but it's lessened. You know, you don't, you know, you sort of don't get the consequence. It just says, don't do it. You know, don't do it, don't do this, don't know. But you know, but and you don't get the retributive consequence of it, you know. Whereas here, you sort of get that, or at least with the code, you get the retributive consequence. There is a statute saying the retributive consequence. Retributive consequence. Yes, establishing boundaries. You know what I'm talking about, which, you know, is needed, you know, it has to be there, you know what I'm talking about, for sure. You know, just so boundaries have to be made so nobody cross them. It's like what Charlie Murphy said in oh, Dave Chappelle, you know, about Ray J, you know, like, for real, man, he's an habitual line stepper. And you'll meet people like that. You'll meet people that are just habitual line steppers that don't really care about boundaries until you force boundaries upon them, like statutes and laws, you know. But yeah, the key word is thy neighbor. You know, but even with the code, is talking about the same thing. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah. But it does say thy neighbor, so you can just, you know, when you're talking about them Philistines, you get the green light on them. You know what I'm saying? But or you know, but yo, don't be doing that, you know, to the Yehuda up there, or them Levites. No, that's wrong. You know, but Philistines, the Egyptians, you know, it'd be like that, man. It'd be like that, you know. So that's what we talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah. Okay. So in Proverbs 19:5, we have a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. You know, there's one. You know, so you sort of see a, a retributive similarity. You know, at least with this one in Proverbs. You know, now here's another one. You know, thou shalt not raise a false report, but put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You know, thou shalt not follow a multitude do evil, neither shalt thou speak, and it calls to decline after many to rest judgment. It basically says, you know, don't, you know, lie, you know, which messes up, you know, a, 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 a fair verdict or fair judgment, you know, just in case, you know, because King James version, you know, none of us speak it, you know. So we you know, gotta make sure we give you the right context. There we go. Gotta give you the right context so you know where we're going at with it. So yeah. Had to add something right quick. Okay. So also here we have, this is why the Code of Hammurabi thought, though it preceded Jewish law by many ages, yet in many features was the same code. See? Message. It already let you know. You know what I'm saying? Message. You know what I'm talking about. It's already there. You know what I'm talking about. It's been there. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, man. You know. You know, same, like I said, same team. You know. So also I put this in here just because for me, my journey with this started with, you know, basically Kemet and the 32 Neck Confessions, you know, which also you can see a little bit of Hebraic things in it, you know. And they used to, you know, my Baba used to point to, you know, 42 Neck Confessions, then he pointed to the 10 Commandments and things like that, you know, so you could actually see, you know, things in where, you know what I'm saying. But then he never got into the Code of Hammurabi until like what? There was like a 14 volume, oh man, 14 volume book series on, like, was it Samaria or like Babylon and Samaria and something like that. But yeah. But as you can see, it says, Hail Neba, who cometh and goeth, and I have not uttered lies, you know, or Hail Utu Neser, who cometh forth from Hekat Bita. I have not uttered curses. Hail Ralph Hoff, who cometh forth from thy cavern. I have not made none to weep, because, you know, when you bear false witness, you cause people, you know, to cry, you know, with what's been said, or things like that. You cause injustice, so people do reap, people do cry, you know. Hail Unum Snev, who cometh forth from the execution chamber. I am not a man of deceit, you know. And hail Tenamu, who coming forth from Bast. I have not slandered anyone. So the 42 negative confessions, they got it from Book of the Dead, aka Book of Coming Forth by Day and Night, you know. But as you can see, I want to show all the ones that basically dealt with, you know, lies, false witness, things like that, so you can see, you know, basically the similarities, you know. And it's all there. You know what I'm saying? More so in, when it comes to Code of Hammurabi and things like that. But even, when even in wonderful Ethiopians of the ancient Cushite Empire, these things like this, is also there, So that's what it also means, what I'm talking about, or also shows, what I'm saying. So in the Anu way, under public governance, we have, we never discredit or slander our own kingdom brothers and sisters in any public environment, whether it be organic or digital. Anu members are judged by Anu. If we have a grievance against our brothers or sisters, we should never slander them. To disparage our own is a betrayal to our lineage. We where was I? To our lineage. Once we desire to speak against our own brothers and sisters, we have tacitly exiled ourselves from the kingdom of Anu. So this is what happens when you slander and other people, but discredit them, false witness, see everything lines up. But yes, sovereignties, you see how law has developed over time, because law is still being developed over time, but through different cultural eyes, in a sense, So we're going to see now what we going to do here is, we saw different statues, but here is basically me showing these things and basically doing sort of what lawyers do, going to different cases and like, oh, in such in 1953, this thing happened and it was the same thing. See, and this was the ruling. So this is what I was basically trying to do, so you can see where my mindset was going. What I'm talking about. So this is basically number 2 of the Code of Hammurabi. What I'm saying, but basically I'm showing the maybe the non-even-handedness, or maybe the just ice or injustice version of it. What I'm talking about. So yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Ruth Putnam, when did you last see Mr. Jacobs?
He come to me 2 nights past when I was fed.
Ruth, you are mistaken. You know me. I am Mr. Jacobs, your neighbor. I have 600 acres next to theirs. She has known me all her life.
He come through my window, and then he lay down upon me. I could not take breath. His body goes heavy upon me. And he say in my ear, Ruth Putnam, I will have your life if you testify against me in court.
What say you to this charge, Mr. Jacobs?
But, Your Honor, I must have these sticks to walk with. How may I come through a window?
But you could have sent out your spirit through a window, could you not?
But how may my spirit go out of my body? And I know nothing about it.
Ruth Putnam has informed me that there is a black man whispering in your ear at this very instant.
He's there. He's whispering. I see him. His head is here. He's here. The black man. The devil is here. He's here.
How dare you mock them, Martha Corey?
What else are fools good for?
Okay, so for those that don't know, that was, well, there's been so many dang on ones, but this one was basically the 7 witch trials that we're gonna be talking about. So this occurred, in colonial Massachusetts. Between 1692 and 1693, right? So basically, these people came, they got out Plymouth Rock. you talk about, and they in the, as I say, the Massachusetts Bay Colony or Massachusetts Colony, and yes, that's where it comes from. Actually, it comes from the movie The Crucible, right? So, I thought about, that statue, and I was like, oh, I've seen that before. But I've seen it in historically in many things that deal with that, and so this is one that I thought of, So yeah, and so here there was, more than 200 people, were accused of practicing witchcraft, the devil's magic, and 20 were executed. And in July of this year, looks like we were brought to. We are. We still here? Oh no! But it wasn't that long. But let's see. But yeah, in July 2022, Elizabeth Johnson Jr. basically, let's see.